Justice Juma Chitembwe appears set to appeal his indictment by the tribunal at the Supreme Court by blocking his removal from office of alleged abuse of office and, of course, bribery. Now, Chitembwe has already filed a notice of appeal at the Supreme Court, indicating his dissatisfaction with the findings that indicated he had a case to answer. As David Maraga now reports, the embattled judge is expected to file the actual appeal at the Apex Court in the coming days.
The tribunal finds the actions of the judge
7 days after a tribunal that was investigating the conduct of suspended High Court Judge Juma Chitembwe recommended that the judge be sacked. In a report it presented to President William Ruto at State House, and Judge Chitembwe is not going down without a fight in what is his last-ditch effort to save his career and reputation. Judge Chitembwe has now filed a notice of appeal at the Supreme Court before filing the actual appeal to challenge his recommended sacking in the coming days. Part of the notice filed by Chitembwe through P.W. Wena and Company Advocates reads, and I quote, "Take notice that the Honorable Mr. Justice Juma Chitembwe being dissatisfied with the decision or findings of the tribunal appointed to investigate into his conduct intends to appeal to the Supreme Court against the whole decision or findings that the judge's conduct was in breach of the Judicial Service Code of Conduct and Ethics. As the last resort for appeal, the country's Apex Court can either reject the judge's appeal, prompting his sacking by President William Ruto, or allow it, and in doing so reinstate him. Both outcomes have been rendered previously on cases filed by judges dissatisfied by recommendations for their removal from office by the respective tribunals investigating them. In 2019, for example, the Supreme Court rejected an appeal filed by former High Court Judge Joseph Mutava, in which he argued that claims that he allocated himself a file without the knowledge of the duty judge were untrue. Mutava was subsequently fired by former President Uhuru Kenyatta. The same Supreme Court in May last year allowed an appeal filed by Judge Martin Muya, who had been accused of misconduct in handling a 76 million shilling loan dispute between NIC Bank and a businessman, making him the first judge to be reinstated by the Supreme Court. Suspended Chitembwe will be hoping to become the second. He will, however, have to convince the 7-judge Supreme Court bench that claims that he obtained part of a land in Kwale that was at the center of succession dispute he was handling, and claims that he sat in a bench that upheld former Governor Mike Sonko's impeachment despite the two knowing each other at a personal level, as well as claims that he solicited for bribes are all untrue. David Maraga, KTN News.
All right, never say die, a fight for a career in the judiciary. Well, he also makes history as the first judge to come out publicly in defense of accusations. He did that with our very own Sophia Wanuna. Well, time now for a short break, but when we come back at the top of the second hour of News Hour, remember tonight we speak to the unending problem in the north. We call it tonight the wild, wild north. The problem of banditry, cattle rustling, and of course the lawlessness. And we ask why this never ceases and who may be behind it. We try and get those answers for you. My guest tonight, David Kusing, he's a member of parliament for Court South. Brian Adera, let me call him a security consultant. He was in Mount Kenya when the forces, the military, that time it was in KDF, they were sent there. He was there with them, and of course Enoch Makanga, security consultant. That's in the second hour. Time now for a short break on News Hour. We are back before you know it. Stay there.